For as long as America's been a nation, the rights of all our citizens have always clashed with the feelings of some. But that has never been more prevalent than in recent years, when sound policy seems to have been trumped by emotional arguments at almost every turn. In the midst of a mostly unrelated search last week, I stumbled upon an image that at first seemed amusing, then intriguing, then caused me to think through the profound truth about the left contained in its 7 words. Your rights end where my feelings begin. Your exercise of free speech on campus supporting the pro-life movement offends me, so we need to silence you. Your opposition to gay marriage makes me feel you are homophobic, so you must be marginalized. Your legally purchased gun makes me feel threatened, so we need to place severe restrictions on your right to own it. Feelings are obviously a part of the human experience we all have to process every moment of every day. But it's when those feelings, which clash with constitutional rights, are deemed to be politically actionable, that we delve deeply into the danger zone. Now, America's founders had so keen an understanding of the passions inherent in human nature and the need to account for them, that they wrote and convinced the fledgling nation to ratify a constitution with bedrock principles such as federalism, checks and balances, and separation of powers, designed for the exact purpose of nullifying emotion to the greatest extent possible in order to assure good governance and sound policy. Human nature has not changed in the 2 centuries since. But we've become more and more willing to succumb to the emotional appeal of a government promising more things to more people at home and policies based on moral equivalence abroad, notions fueled by a compliant media. Now, no more clear a case can be made than with Israel. Hamas is a proven terrorist organization that ignited the ongoing horrific conflict by launching thousands of missiles into the heart of Israel, a tiny country surrounded by many larger ones committed to its destruction. And yet the implicit storyline in much of the media is one of de facto moral equivalence between the democratic government and people of Israel and the terrorists of Hamas who sacrifice Palestinian children to accomplish their vile mission. So the battle for moral equivalence is thus won, and the path cleared for transmitting constant emotion-inducing images of dead Arab children as evidence of Israel's complicity, as they ignore the stark truth in the statement by Israel's president that Israel uses missiles to protect its citizens, while Hamas uses citizens to protect its missiles. Another example can be found on our southern border, where it's been far too easy for the left and the media to advance an immigration argument based on feelings, as we're bombarded by heartbreaking images of suffering Central American children. That can hardly compete with the constitutional argument about rule of law and border security among the many Americans not paying attention. And on the domestic front, the Affordable Care Act is presented as evidence of the left's compassion and the cruel constitutionalists committed to denying the poor access to our health care system, while ignoring all the while the hard facts about the spectacular failures and unpopularity of the law and promises made to ram it through Congress that have proven to be false at best. The left's insistence on government management of our health care system at any cost, and emotion-inducing reports from our southern border and from Israel are but the latest iterations of politics by feelings. And the problem is not so much that leftists in need of changing the subject from their legacy of failure constantly try this, but that they succeed more often than they fail.